So hi guys, welcome to Music Talk with Ad-Rian. The topic of today's video is turned down by the label, how to cope with rejection. And for everybody that's new here, this channel is all about real live-through experience that I like to share with you to help you navigate through music business as you move along. Please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps the channel grow. And we'll dive right into it after a short intro. Now, maybe you've been in a situation like this before. You spend days and nights writing songs. You put all your dedication into writing a good lyric, finding good changes, recording all the instruments. All of a sudden, one day the song is finished, and you decide, okay, now this is the best I can do. I want to shop this song and present it to record labels or agencies or booking companies or send it out to a radio. And you do that and you're full of hopes and eager to hear what the people have to say about your song. And then it happens what happens a lot: you get rejected. Now, that can be very frustrating, and this is like part of the reality of making a musical career. And it's kind of interesting to look at the past for a little while, for a second, when it comes to rejection, when it comes to being rejected by a record company, because in the past, record companies have rejected a lot of bands. Now, I'm not talking like some kind of random bands. I'm really talking like big superstar bands. I'm talking like artists like Elton John, who got rejected. I'm talking about bands like Queen, who got rejected, David Bowie, even the Rolling Stones at some point didn't have a record deal. So, it is in a way a very common thing, that it's an interesting question. We can ask ourselves, why is that? Why do record companies reject artists and bands on a large scale so much, And I think, first of all, we got to be aware that in music business, there's just so many artists and so many bands and so many great projects out there. But there's really just a few record companies from the size that could really make a certain impact on your musical career. So I think, keeping that in mind, it's kind of logical that, much more songs or bands or projects get rejected than actually get signed. So I think this is like the main cause of why the situation is like that, But there's even there's another aspect to it all. Of course, don't get me wrong. There's always exceptions to the rule. But looking at the people that work in record companies, a lot of times they don't really come from a musical background. I mean, back in the day, there were exceptions to the rule, of course. Like I said, there were certainly people that were very much attached to music, came from a musical background. But in today's world, and even actually, this has been going on quite some years, modern times, everything, the whole structure of record companies have changed a lot. And a lot of times, people of these big companies, these corporate companies, they have more like a legal background, or they have more like an economical background, but a lot of times they're not really as much attached to the music, as they maybe used to be. And so it's kind of hard, but like when we're looking at the past and we see all these big names, like all these big superstars that got rejected, like I said, even the Rolling Stones that sometimes fell through, as far as getting a new record deal. I think it's just really hard for these people to kind of like, say what is going to be the next hit, what's going to work for the people, and what doesn't. In the same hand, it has maybe a little bit to do with power. The more you reject, the more desperate all the artists and all the musicians get to get a record deal, and you're starting to get in this like really strange mood. Like whenever you present something, you're like, oh my God, are they going to like it? Are they going to turn this down? So there's like different aspects to it. And I think the main aspect is just there's way too many bands, or like a lot of bands compared to companies. And the other aspect is that a lot of these people don't really come from a musical background. Now, in a way, it's very interesting to kind of also look at what do record companies really look for? What do they want? Now that's also sometimes hard to say, because sometimes new releases get put out, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to imagine why these things got signed. Then again, some new songs come out and they're just like really great. But I think in general, most of all today, record companies are mainly looking for younger artists, and they are really convinced to sign you when a lot of your career is already kind of like prepared, and you're like already like moving ahead. Maybe you've been a singer or an artist that was on some kind of talent show and you already had some exposure. And so looking at today's music industry, I think a lot of times they consider signing something and pushing something that is already like a little bit here. Maybe there's even a little bit of success, and they can like jump right in and pick up that artist and kind of like, you know, put their color onto it, and kind of like define how they want to see what direction, and how this artist is going to be, how the image of this artist is going to be. So they really want to have a lot of impact, and they really want to have, they really want a situation where they can actually form an artist. So most of the times young artists get signed by the label, by a record label, unfortunately, because a lot of times these young artists don't really know what they're getting into. So it's always very important to really stay careful when it comes to signing something. Now, another question that we have to ask is, what are you willing to give? Because a lot of times we are so eager to to go out and present our songs to record companies and to kind of push our careers forward, that we don't really ask ourselves, what are we willing to give? Because that's maybe the most important question of it all, because you always have to consider that when you sign a record company deal, you're going to give away a lot of rights, and you're going to involve people that, basically tell you everything, what you're going to do, what you have to do. And so it's not a very easy situation. So with that being said, there's a good chance that maybe you're even better off not signing to a major company at all. There's a very good chance that this is the better option for you, especially in today's world, where you have like so many opportunities to kind of self-promote yourself and put out your music by yourself. So this really has changed a lot compared to the early days, where you didn't have social media, didn't have the internet, music was not digital. So, the artists couldn't really do anything by themselves. So that's so totally different today. So we got to keep that in mind, because that really changes the game for us. So a lot of times, if we ask ourselves, do we really want to give away all our rights and like really just our whole artistic freedom in order to work with a big major company? Well, like I said in other videos, it really depends what they're putting in and what they're bringing to the table. But I think a lot of times you're better off staying independent and just really moving along on your path and keeping all your artistic freedom, and just kind of like do whatever you feel like is best and what you do best, and just kind of like be able to express yourself and develop yourself artistically in a way that you defined and you want to go. So let's pretend you're in a situation where you got turned down by a record company. I think there's two very important things for you to do. First of all, don't lose your dignity. Don't lose your dignity, and don't lose your faith in yourself. Don't lose faith in what you do and in yourself. Keep going, focus on the music, and build up that inner strength. That's, I think, is something that's very important. Number two is look at yourself as a self-employed company owner, because as a musician, that's really what you are. You run your own business, and like as a self-employed person or as a small business owner, you would not depend too much on a third party or someone else in order for your business to grow. You will kind of like take action, whatever is necessary to make your business grow. Try to get into the mindset that you are actually the owner of your own business, and that you don't want to be too much depending on third party there's nothing against like finding a good business partner, but this is really the way you should look at any contract that you sign, no matter if you're signing with a record label or a booking agency or a music publisher or whatever. You always should look at it as a business partner. And if your business partner cannot bring anything to the table that helps your business grow and develop, maybe it's not the right partner. So instead of getting all depressed when you turn down, try to look at it at this way. Try to look at it that you're the business owner, you're in charge, take responsibility for your company and for your career, and pursue the next step necessary in order for you to grow. Stay focused, concentrate on the music, don't lose the fun of everything, and you'll be all fine. There's no problem at all. There's nobody that can, stop that. Everything will happen at the right time. So I hope this video kind of like helps you, maybe today, maybe also in the future, to kind of like pursue your career and build up your career, giving you some information that make it easier in certain situations. So I'm really looking forward to talk to you again. Like always, stay inspired, stay creative. Talk to you next time.